Epicurean expeditionist here, trying something a little different tonight. Find myself with some spare time, so I decided to try a little podcasty-ish video. I don't know. We're trying something new. I say, you know what? I got the time. Why not try it? Um, want to talk about an interesting topic that's come up recently called zero waste cooking or a zero waste kitchen, zero waste cuisine. There's a million different names for it. The essentials of the concept are to have as little waste as possible. As someone who does the cooking, I get it. It does make sense. If, as someone who's seen the amount of waste that goes out of professional kitchens, yeah, it's kind of sad some days. As someone who travel is currently outside the U.S. traveling and sees the alternative side of things, yeah, we need to work on this. There's no reason for anybody to go hungry. There's enough food in the world, so let's just stop wasting it. That being said, let's move on. So the concept is eliminating waste in the kitchen through eliminating food waste, eliminating packaging waste, and eliminating wasted food that's lost due to spoilage or misadventure. Some of the stuff is pretty simple and straightforward. I mean, let's talk about veggies for a minute. Things like I don't know, I'm figuring out this setup still. So, some of your veggies, like your Swiss chard and kale, the stems. A lot of people just strip the stems out before they do, before they work with them. Those stems are perfectly edible. Why not saute them or puree them or add them to, soups or salads, any other dish? Add them to some pesto, add them to a sauce. I mean, there's a million things that can be done with them. Same with, the tops, the greens, carrot tops, things like that. They can be added to salads. They can be stir fried, sauteed, put them into kimchi, make juice with them, a million different things. Seeds, pumpkin and squash. Save them and roast them. Put them into baked goods. Add them into salads. I mean, there's a million things that can be done. And every time you do that, it's not going into a landfill. It's not going to a dumpster where it will attract vermin, rodentia, rats, bugs, etc. So it's not just being better for the environment, it's helping out your restaurant as well. My favorite, though, and this is something I actually did for Christmas dinner, peels. Now, in my family, I cooked up Christmas dinner this year because I was in the home area and I actually offered to. And I had an absolute blast. I had a lot of fun with it. But anytime there's a big family get together, the one item that must be on the menu is mashed potatoes. I know, mashed potatoes sounds simple. Mind you, I did some potatoes Duchess to go with it, and the kids absolutely loved those. They referred to them as potato cookies, and no, they were not overbaked. They were good. Um, but the mashed potatoes. Now, some people are going to think potato puree or Palms puree or whatever you want to call it. Growing up, we always had mashed potatoes with lumps in them, and that is a standard in my family's home. That's how you know you're getting real mashed potatoes and not instant from a box. That was the running story in the house. Um, that being said, though, I decided to step it up a little bit. Now, we all know if you're making mashed potatoes, you're supposed to peel the potatoes. Now, mind you, if I'm using red potatoes, a lot of times I will leave the skins on just for some extra texture. I was using russet potatoes, and that's pretty much what my parents use all the time. So I was trying to keep it with tradition. Um, Peeled them down, boiled them, mashed them with the masher, got the lumps in there, added in the heavy cream, added in the butter, added in the garlic, added in the salt and pepper. It was all good. But I took one extra step this year. I took those peels, all the peels. Now, mind you, I scrubbed the potatoes ahead of time, but I took all of those peels and I took a nice saute pan on the stove, put some coconut oil in there because it's super neutral. It's what my mom had. Did not realize she was out of vegetable oil, but that's okay. It worked. Put some coconut oil in there, heated it up, Put all those peels right into it and just basically pan fried them down until they were dry and crispy. I took and threw them right in the mashed potato. Like the mashed potatoes were pretty much ready to go. I took and threw them in, mashed the hell out of them. Used the masher, combined it right in, and it was actually pretty impressive. It added a little bit of that earthy flavor to the potatoes. It also added some texture to it, some texture that, like almost not quite a crunch. There was a little bit of crunch in there from them, but it wasn't like a super crunch. It's that little subtle crunch, but it was just a texture thing. It was really good, and everybody loved them. Now my dad's not happy with me because he is going to need to do that every time he makes potatoes from here on out. Well, sorry, Dad. That's what happens when you have a son who's a chef that comes home and cooks for you. Um, but here's the thing. Realistically speaking, one of the biggest issues we deal with as a species is waste. Um, and I'm not trying to get all save the environment tree hugger here. This is just an honest to God conversation. Landfills, bad. There's a lot of trash everywhere, yada, yada. Okay, so what can we do as chefs to minimize that? Simply put, use everything, nose to tail, root to top. Every part of your ingredients can be used for something. Now, mind you, things like eggshells, not so much. Um, those can be composted. And if you don't have composting in your area, look into it. If you're in a rural area, you may be able to start your own compost area. Obviously, you want it away from the restaurant, but look into it because it's a good way to recycle. If you're doing farm to table, talk to your farm providers. They may take composting material, and maybe they'll even give you a discount on what you're buying from them for giving them the compostable material because that goes back into the earth and enriches the soil so that they can grow better products. Um, look at the packaging you're getting. If you're getting from whether you're cooking at home, cooking in a restaurant, look at your options for your suppliers. Do they have packaging options that don't involve a lot of plastic and styrofoam? Do they have packaging options that are biodegradable, that can be composted? Do they have reusable packaging that they'll pick up and bring you your next batch in after that? There's options out there. We just have to be proactive to find those options, and we can be part of the solution. If you're just cooking at home for a family, look into a CSA or crop sharing association, I think it is, where, oh, excuse me, where you go to a local farm and everybody pitches in a little bit, and then they get a share of what the crops. Little things like that can make all the difference because especially like I know my mom does a CSA and it comes in a recyclable cardboard box that you can actually bring back to reuse. I mean, they don't charge you anything for it. You don't get anything for bringing it back, but it can be recycled. It can be reused. Realistically speaking, if it gets wet or nasty, it can be composted. So there's always options. And whether you are a home chef cooking at home, whether you are a professional chef, we have the power to change things to be better. I know some of you, no, no. We have the power to do that. And once you start, you're going to see savings overall. Those vegetable cutoffs, instead of tossing them, throw them in a stock pot, use them to make a stock with, use them as your mirepoix for something. Everything has its use. You, Leftover bones can be turned into a stock. I mean, let's face it, people. Once you get outside the US, it's amazing how completely people use their products. And I think we really need to take some lessons from that and be less wasteful of what we have. God, that sounds entirely too socially conscious for me. But that's the point is sometimes we need somebody to walk in and say, "Hey, take a look at this. There is something you can do differently." Why not do it differently? Why not look at the options? Will it cost a little bit more up front? Possibly. I won't deny that it might cost a little bit more up front, but in the long run, it ends up saving not just dollars and cents in your pocket right then and there, but it saves the planet. Now I sound like a tree hugger. It's okay though, because realistically speaking, if we don't make little changes now, who's going to make the big changes down the road? So that's been zero waste cooking, cuisine, whatever you want to call it today. Let me know what you think about this. Like I said, it's something I'm playing around with. I happen to have a little bit extra time on my hands here and there, so I'm thinking maybe I'll do a little bit of podcasting so I can be one of the cool kids. Anyway, remember, food is life. Life is good. Let's eat some more. Gather around with your friends, your family, maybe some strangers because they're just friends you haven't met yet. Put some amazing food on the table because everybody can cook. Everybody can cook, I guarantee. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be massive. It just has to have passion behind it and wanting to give a damn. And sit down together and you'd be amazed at how much your world could change. Till next time, I love y'all, and I'll catch you then.